Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our college prospect show, and today, Vincent Turner, our founder and co-host, myself, I'm Harper LaBelle, and Logan Landers, our producer and engineer. We're going to talk about Will Johnson, cornerback at Michigan. And Vincent, one of the things that I love is talking about some of these guys, and you're looking at a picture of Will. He wears number 2, but I'm going to change that because he wore number 2. Here he is. He's going to opt out for the NFL draft. He is not going to play in today's game against the University of Alabama in a bowl game, but what a player Will Johnson is. We get to talk about one of the young defensive backs that is really a difference maker, and everybody seems to think that this guy is not only going to shine, but he may end up being a future star in the National Football League.
Like his size, what more can you say? He played at the highest level, played at the University of Michigan, 6'2", 202 pounds, 4.4 speed. His father, Dion, played in the early 90s and won 3 Big Ten championships at the University of Michigan. So you know this kid was going to be a pretty good athlete. But he was player of the year in the state of Michigan and played both sides of the ball. And when he got to Michigan, Jim Harbaugh didn't know what side of the ball to play him because he was that good as a receiver. But he said, hey, you know what? This young man can make an impact on the defensive side of the ball. And you're talking about the skill level, length, A+, size, as I just mentioned, 6'2", 210, A+. He plays the position with a lot of patience. He could play man. He can play zone. But the thing I like about him, when you're talking about all the great size corners that's played at the National Football League level, Mike Haynes, Raider, Bobby Taylor, Eagle, Raymond Claiborne, Patriots, Jerry Holmes, Jets, and of course, I always got to throw a guy, 901, was outstanding player with the Kansas City Chiefs, my man, Mr. Eric Harris. All of them was about 6'2", about this young man's size, but what they can do, they can run side by side with receivers. And I'm going to leave you with this. Go back to the national championship game against the University of Washington, Michael Penix at this time last year. He played against 3 guys that got drafted in the NFL draft. Roma Duzzi is with the Chicago Bears. Jalen McMillan, that's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Jalen Polk, that's with the New England Patriots. And you know what he did? As we say back in the hood, back in Memphis, Tennessee. See this hand? He had the glove on him. Played extremely well that day. Back to you, Harper.
I'm just going to say he helped shut him down is what he did. Maybe not the glove, but pretty doggone close. I'm so impressed with his pedigree, if you will. He's a junior. And he's going to leave early. I know there are a lot of Wolverine fans that are really, upset about that, but that's the business and the way that the things work out right now. But here he is, a national championship. He has a ring, right? He's already got one, and he's making the best decision from a business perspective that he thinks is perfect for him at this time. And it's hard to argue. You mentioned his size. What I like about the fact that he played both offense and defense in high school is that you learn how to. I use the Tony Gonzalez example. When Tony was at the University of California, he played basketball as well. And so Pac-12 basketball, it's pretty good. It's not you may say that argue that the ACC is the best or big, doesn't matter. He's playing college level. And he said, basketball made me a better football player. And he said, football made me a better basketball player. So when you take different skill sets from one and apply it to the other and carry that over with Will Johnson, where I think playing receiver made me a better defensive back, and playing DB made me a better receiver. I think that's applicable to him as well. But no one can argue with his size, with his IQ, with his strength at that level. He was first team All-American in 2023. He was first team All-Big Ten also that year. He was a member of the national championship team. He was a freshman of the year, and he won honors there. He's talented. He's refined, he's strong, he's a lockdown type corner. There's so many things that he does well, but amongst all of them, he knows where the ball is. Did you have any weaknesses or anything that you were able to discover? I think there's a couple. One is kind of minute. He doesn't two-hand press very well. He's a one hand or another hand that he would press. I thought that was a little bit of a challenge trying to find any weakness at all, if that's the one that you find. But open field one-on-one tackler, anybody can get better at that. But let's add Richard Sherman also as a big, tall guy. I don't think he has Richard's personality, but he certainly has a lot of the skill set.
Only one thing that I hear the scouts say about Will Johnson is that, well, a lot of y'all corners do when they come into the league on any level, they never turn around at the right time. They always have their back to the ball. That was the only slight negative I read about Will Johnson. But when you look at him, he's an impact player, ball hawk. And you look at all the great defensive backs that's played in Michigan, Randy Logan, Dave Brown, and of course the young man that won the Heisman, Mr. Charles Woodson. And remember what Mr. Mike Ken said when he was on our show as a guest. There's no better school in the country and no better alumni when you lead the University of Michigan. And I think he was telling the truth. And this young man right here, with his father being a three-time member of a Big Ten team that won Big Ten championships in the early 90s, I think you're not going to miss out on Will Johnson. He's the second-rated corner in this 2025 NFL draft behind Travis Hunter, and I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. And I think he's going to be a quality player that you're not going to have to worry about from a mature standpoint or a playing standpoint. Look who he's been coached by, Jim Harbaugh. What Harbaugh has done this year with the LA Chargers. Look what Harbaugh said he was going to do when he went back to Michigan. He was going to win a natty. And the one thing that sticks in my mind as we talk about this young man today, he was the defensive MVP in the national championship game last year. And you said it first, Harper. He shut down all those very talented University of Washington Huskies receivers that's playing very well right now in the National Football League. Back to you, Mr. Harper LaBelle.
Yeah, one of the things that I think he has as an advantage over maybe Travis is, one, he's bigger, he's heavier. And I think that let's say it doesn't work out. And I'm not saying it won't. But if it doesn't work out at corner, he's big enough to where now he can play either free or strong safety for you, and he gets to stay in your roster. Is he going to be your nickel guy? Probably. He could be. Could he be a deep coverage in 4 or 6 technique? Maybe. You could do that. There's so many different options that if his speed and his ability to turn and change direction, and if he does work on the ability to find the ball when it's up in the air, if those things all work themselves out, yeah, he'll be a shutdown corner, and he'll have a very long career as long as he can run, right? It's as simple as that. But I think another thing that you're going to, if you're looking at the gamble, the overall investment, for him to be big enough to be able to play somewhere else and do other things, I think that is going to be what propels him. Obviously, if he runs a great time in the 40, that'll be all he needs to do during the training sessions that he has for the combine. But you have him listed at number 2 overall behind Travis. I wouldn't be surprised if someone goes, you know what, Travis is a little too small, and I'm not sure if he's going to complain that he's not getting the ball as a wide receiver. I need a lockdown corner. I'm going to go with Will Johnson. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I'm not saying it will, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Let's look at some of Will's stats here in his junior year, but his last season at Michigan. He ended up with 14 tackles. He pass deflected 3 times. He had 2 interceptions, both of which were for touchdowns. One was a 86-yard return. The other was for about 40 yards, but both of those ended up in the end zone. As you're looking at the picture here against the University of Southern California, where he gets to tell the crowd, I'll be quiet, I still got more to do. He's from Detroit. He ended up playing at Michigan, just east of Ann Arbor. Is where he's from. He had a terrific career, and we wish him certainly the best. Final thoughts on Will Johnson.
Like the great Mike Ken in University of Michigan, this young man is going to be a football player. Hail to the victors. Dun, 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 dun. Back to you, Mr. Harper LaBelle.
Whether it's 1 year or 3, once you're a Wolverine, you're always a Wolverine. So Will Johnson, the cornerback out of the University of Michigan, we wish you luck as you get yourself ready for the National Football League. And that's a look at our draft prospects here for this show. We're going to talk about Will Johnson. We thank you for tuning in. So for Logan Landers, our producer and engineer, and for our founder and co-host, Vincent Turner, I'm Harper LaBelle saying have a great day, everybody.